Welcome. Camp 3 News with the wonderful Debbie Evans. Are you all right, Debbie?
I'm good, thanks. And how? Well, look at the weather. Beautiful. Sunshine, blue sky. Fabulous. Doesn't it make you feel so much better?
It does. Well, we'll talk about the weather a bit later on, actually. There's a couple of things that's come up in the news this past few days. That,
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah. There's nothing that this world doesn't throw at us to bring a few laughs along the way, because it's all a bit the clown show, as always. Anyway, we've got Sarah and Raoul are already in the chat room. There's a
Sarah
few
and
people
Raoul,
already here.
hello.
Welcome. We may as well get started, Debbie, because
Let's do it.
Let's start with Starmer, shall we? Starmer. So yesterday there was a debate, wasn't there?
There was, in the House of Commons last night, where MPs were voting to see if they could get the Select Committee to start a public inquiry into the behaviour of Starmer with Mandelson, basically. So this was a debate. Yes, thank you, Sarah. I am much better. I can breathe. It's the sunshine in the blue sky. But anyway, they had this debate last night in the Commons. I don't think a lot of people knew it was taking place. And there was quite a good attendance, but the Prime Minister had put a 3-line whip in place. So basically, he'd said to Labour MPs, you will not allow this to happen. You will support me. You will support the government, or else. Now, Boris Johnson was critiqued a lot, and there was all sorts of votes going on in the hat, but he never put a whip in. So I'm not saying that I'm any fan of Boris Johnson, but just in comparison of what a piece of nasty, what nasty piece of work Starmer is, he never showed up. He didn't want anything to do with it, and he put a 3-line whip in, and there was some pretty savage words spoken in the Commons last night against Keir Starmer. But of course, what did we expect? The government win, and it's all gone away and been swept under a carpet.
Of course it is. Of course it. Well, we'll play the little bit of the debate and the results of what happened. I mean, I'll just put on record, and whatever happens in these situations is generally irrelevant, because they're here temporarily. They're here to cause as much chaos as they possibly can. Starmer has been placed, I think, to really push forward the 2030 agenda, and then he'll leave, and then he'll disappear, and they'll have somebody else in that'll just carry on the agendas that's been placed for them. But let's play this clip from yesterday.
To members opposite is watch out. You are probably working very well together to bring down the downfall of this Prime Minister. And what I would say, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that my constituents would be delighted if there was a general election and a chance to change the government. But the last thing they want is to get rid of this Prime Minister and be faced with another Prime Minister from the Labour Party who they think will be far worse, even though they might be more effective. So that's my small contribution to this evening, but I hope that it may influence the way in which some of the members opposite choose to.
So, yeah, that was Sir Christopher Chope. I mean, there were plenty of MPs that stood up and spoke out. And what he said was interesting, because he said, be careful, you lot, because you might, well, whichever way it goes, this is the way it would have gone. Either we'd look at a Labour leadership contest, and let's face it, who do we want? Lammy? Angela Rayner? I can't begin to think who would be worse than Starmer, actually, but there is definitely worse than Starmer. And then if we don't have a Labour leadership contest, and as Sir Christopher Chope then said, a general election, are we going to get Nigel Farage in? Which, you know, just fills me with absolute horror, quite frankly. So whichever way we go, it's pantomime. It's all pantomime. And you know, it's interesting what you said, because when you said they all disappear, They all just go off and do their own thing. Harry Potter, it's very, very well apt, isn't it? That house, Slytherin. You know, now I'm starting to see, because these people, they slither off, never to be seen again.
There's always, well, not always, but the majority of the time there's these leadership issues and scandals that surround these people, and then they just disappear. And you know, the George Osbornes, the
Boris Johnson's, Rishi Sunak.
You just name them. You name them all through. It happens.
Jonathan Bantam, even the civil servants, the medical. You know, Chris Whitty's still there, but he's the only one now. Lord Valance is in them. I mean, it's just slithering off.
It is. But they're in these positions because they can. They do that. They put these people that have no empathy in these positions, and they also will have something on them, so they can be controlled. You know, they go through these secret society kind of things. Like, what was he called? Cameron. You know, he put his willy in a pig's head. You know, but they have these people lock, stock, and barrel. Trump's another one. You know, they know his connections. They know what you know, so they can control these people because it'd be blackmail.
Yeah.
So they don't care that they're here to steamroll us peasants. You know,
No.
that's what it's about, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's just to keep controlling us.
Sold their souls. Absolutely right, Sarah. You know, I would go one further and say that these are master magicians. I've always said that Trump is a master magician. Good afternoon, Adele. Lovely to see you. These are magicians. They're dangerous. They're very dangerous people. But I mean, look at Rishi Sunak, for example. He's got a job with Moderna. He's got, and then they all go off to the United Nations, or they all go off to the WEF, or to Deloitte, or to one of the big four. They always end up back on their feet. So yeah, it's all pantomime.
Of course it is. It's pantomime. But we generally, there's a population fall for the pantomime. And I'm not saying everybody in Parliament are bad, by the way. I'm not saying every MP is involved. I'm not saying that, but I would imagine a good majority are pretty bad and bought and paid for. And like you say, like Sarah said, sold the souls, you know, and they don't care about us. They don't care about us at all. Anyway, let's see the results of yesterday's discussion.
Thank you. The ayes to the right, 223. The noes to the left, 335. The noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock!
No, all that is pantomime.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
So Keir Starmer can just go, thank you very much. All under the carpet now, buried.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. In any normal industry, the kind of scandals that Starmer's involved in, you know, I mean, with the fact that he had his cars burnt, didn't he? By, you know, and nobody seems to be talking about these arson attacks and his connections with young Ukrainian boys. You know, nobody seems to be talking about those things either. It's quite poisonous stuff. But it's for the people that probably running the show. It's good that he's you know, controlled this way. You know, that he's doing these things because they can keep him on a pedestal, can't they?
Of course they can. Of course they can. I mean, you know, Keir Starmer's going nowhere. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's here to stay. So he's going to be the war prime minister. And I noticed that our foreign secretary, she's absent because she's gone off to the USA with the king. So she's accompanied. Of course, the king's not political at all, is he? Oh, no. But he's taken the foreign secretary, Yvette Cooper, with him. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I've got another thing about Starmer this week as well. And he's basically been telling us to prepare for a crisis. So let's play. I hate playing him, but let's play him anyway because it's part of the show, and
And bear in mind, when they tell you not to panic, it's always the opposite.
It's always the opposite, yeah.
You've described, you've repeatedly said it's not our war. The problem is, as you already mentioned, it is affecting all of us, isn't it? And people are desperately worried about that. So you're chairing this crisis cabinet committee tomorrow. I wondered if you could just level with the British public. You know, are you worried about fuel and food shortages? Is that why you're chairing that committee?
There is going to be an impact on the UK. There already is. And I think it's really important I level with the public that we are doing everything we can to get the Strait of Hormuz open, because obviously that is vital in terms of minimising the impact. But I don't want anybody to think that once the strait is open, that that's the end of the damage. It'll go on longer than that. And that's why we've got almost daily meetings of ministers and officials looking at how we manage the impact. At the moment, we're confident about supply. We have reopened a CO2 plant in the northeast. Airlines are telling us that they've got enough jet fuel at the moment.
But when you say at the moment, for how long?
Well, we monitor this all of the time, and they have told us so far that they've got the supplies that they need.
But summer holidays could be in jeopardy.
Well, that's why we manage it. I think what we'll see how long the conflict goes on. I can see that if there's more impact, people might change their habits, where they go on holiday this year, what they're buying in the supermarket, that sort of thing. So
you are, I mean, really your message to the public is don't panic, but actually there may be some shortages of food and fuel.
Don't panic, but we chose not to get involved in this war. That was the right thing to do, but we must protect the British people from the impact of it. That's...
Yeah, whatever, Keir. Don't panic.
Don't panic. Don't panic.
I
always say, if the government tell you not to worry about something, then perhaps you should. If the government tell you to worry about something, then perhaps you shouldn't, as we've seen before. And what he said was the Strait of Hormuz, right? So we don't really get much. I mean, the impact, the ripple effect, yes, of course, it's going to affect us. But the Strait of Hormuz has been closed or open. It's like the hokey cokey, open, closed, blockaded. I mean, Trump wants it open, yet he blockades it. It's a complete mess. So it's been closed now for about 5 or 6 weeks. So you can estimate that you will get shortages, and that the whole supply chain will not get back to normal for at least 9 to 11 months. So that's how long he's talking about. Yes, there will be disruptions, and they're going to be significant disruptions. So don't expect the Strait of Hormuz to be opened and everything's fine and hunky-dory again, because it isn't. And they're deliberately stopping us from accessing oil. They're trying to find every excuse under the sun. We've got tons of oil, tons of it. They just don't want us to have it. So that's point number one. We are confident, is what he said. So upside down, well, I'm not confident in you, Keir. And then he said, oh, don't worry, airlines will have enough fuel. Well, that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Lufthansa have grounded a lot of their fleet, that Ryanair, EasyJet, and a lot of the package holiday airline carriers are having to cancel flights or delay flights. And they're all coming out saying, don't worry, it's all going to be fine, it's all going to be fine. Well, I hope for everyone's sake that's booked a holiday in summer, I hope it is fine. And I hope you do get through the biometric data quickly enough. I hope all of that happens for you. But we've got kerosene. There's tons of it. They're just not, they want, if you go back to the absolute zero document, they want us to stop flying. So by 2030, there will only be 3 airports open. That's Heathrow, Gatwick, Heathrow, Belfast, and one other. And I can't remember, but the absolute zero document, which is pinned on my X account, everyone needs to look at that, because they don't intend for you to fly. They intend for the elite to fly, because Keir Starmer's not going to have any problem going for his summer holiday, let's face it. He's not. And I was checking the air tracker last night, actually, because there was a lot of air activity in Cornwall. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, that can't be all Newquay, London, Newquay. It's got to be something going on. And there were private jets, business jets, taking off from Newquay Airport. So there's plenty of jet fuel for the people that need to fly. It's just going to be for the people that want to go on holiday. They're going to be the ones that are impacted. So don't believe him.
I wonder if they'll have enough fuel to continue spraying us like bugs, Debbie.
I wondered that. I bet they do have enough fuel for that.
Oh, I bet they do.
I bet they've got a little secret cache over it just for spraying.
I'm sure they have. I'm sure they'll be fine with that. And that might just come under the elite category, you know, the Epstein class category, where you can fly wherever you want, you know, go for your,
Wherever you want.
you know, like Starmer last week, where he's flying off to France to have a Zoom meeting, which he could have done from home. But there you go. Hey, it's just one rule for one and one rule for the other.
Exactly.
The Labour Party released an election video, and it was pretty. You'd have to look at it. I'm not going to play it, but I am going to play the Crew Cut Gazette's retaliation video, which was excellently put together. I recommend you watch the Labour Party conference one just to get yourself wound up. It's an attack on reform, really, but yeah. Let's play it because it's been cleverly put together, and I think I always like to give these guys a bit. I know they use AI, but they use it very well. So let's play this.
Keir Starmer once shit his pants while walking around Tesco at 3 a.m. in the morning, back in the days when Tesco was open 24/7. Yvette Cooper has an incredibly long neck, so much so that London Fire Brigade often call upon her during ladder shortages. Wes Streeting once got so drunk that he put a nappy on his head and pretended to be an Ewok from Star Wars. Angela Rayleigh didn't pay her tax bill. Wait, that's not actually a joke. Nick Brown was suspended from the Labour Party as an MP, but nobody knows why or what happened to him. 52 Labour officials had been convicted of child abuse. In Labour and Lib Dem councils, thousands of girls and women have been abused by grooming gangs, and these crimes were covered up by the local authorities. Every day in England, 33 people are arrested for posting on social media.
All right there, love. Fancy a drink and a bit of company?
No, I've got one, thank you. And I'm just sat here speaking to myself. Leave me be now.
But love, why don't you come back to mine for a bit of fun?
Leave me alone, you nonce. I'm young enough to be your daughter. And yep, you guessed it. Sex pests in England are more likely to be given a community order than sent to prison.
So it brings up some dark moments there, but you need to watch the Labour Party's original video, which has this actress in it playing this part where she brings up information about reform and how bad they are. But what Crew Cut have done there is they basically said, well, what about the situations we've got? You know, so it was very clever the way they did that. So
that's pretty shocking, though. I don't know how many Labour officials were convicted of. I mean, some of those statistics were pretty shocking if you go back across them.
Absolutely, and it highlights again what they get away with, and they will continue to get away with. It doesn't matter which party is going to be in power.
No,
they're all going to be. They're all
going
to be
a uni party.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah,
100%.
So we've got a royal visit at the moment, visiting the savior of the world himself. You know.
And the Americans, there was an ex-post this morning. He said, "Oh, you know, this is amazing. We have the king," and I kind of posted, "You can keep him. You know, have him. We don't want him back. Actually, thank you very much." Oh, it's so creepy. The whole thing is so creepy. The Melania thing, and there was this. I mean, there's so much to say about Trump and Charles. So much to say, even their close relationship. But Melania was with Camilla out on the lawns of the White House, and all these children out the front with their augmented reality.
I've got that to show. Yeah, I'll play that. It's
do it. Honestly, it's like, what?
I know, I've got that. I mean, first of all, we've got Donald Trump's handshake. Look at how he grips Charlie.
That's that funny handshake, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit intense, isn't it?
And I noticed that Melania and Camilla are, you know, in tandem in cream, because let's not forget Melania is good friends with Charles. They're pen pals. So there's a very close and there's also a very close relationship with Kate, Princess of Wales, and Camilla and Melania as well. So they're very, very close, these two dynasties.
They are indeed, which is interesting though as well that and I'll play a clip in a minute actually, where an insider I'll play it shortly. It talks about the special relationship, which isn't as special as it used to be. But this is the VR headset thing that you were mentioning, which is very, very Hunger
Odd.
Games society, isn't it?
It's very dystopian.
Isn't it? Very weird.
And who is that that's showing Camilla? Is she a Chinese lady? I'm not quite sure. Who is she? They're all dressed in cream.
Yeah, they are.
But that's a very dystopian. The whole trip has been dystopian because, of course, with the assassination attempt, it was a question of, does Charles go? Can they trust the Americans to keep Charles safe? But he went anyway.
Yeah, and apparently Charles, so Trump has said that King Charles III has agreed that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Apparently he said, we have militarily defeated that particular opponent, and we're never going to let that opponent have a nuclear weapon. Really?
You also said that you're my cousin. And he also said that his mother had a crush on Charles. I mean, it was all very inappropriate.
I've got that, yeah. I've got that.
It was just
I've got
like,
that.
Really? I mean, Trump said a lot, but don't forget, Charles was over there to hand over the certificate or the American independence. So the Americans are going, at last, you know, we are no longer under maritime law. At last, we're independent. Charles has come over for this, and I'm just, it's pantomime.
100%. Well, let's play that clip regarding
my mother
his
had
mother.
A crush on Charles. Can you believe it?
No.
He's so cute. It's my mother. My mother, I just see it so clearly. She loved, and I told the king this, she loved the royal family, and she loved the queen. And anytime the queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, my mother would be glued to the television. And she'd say, look, Donald, look how beautiful that is. She really did love the family. But I also remember her saying very clearly, Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute. It's my mother. My mother had a crush on Charles. Can you believe it?
Bizarre.
Awkward.
Very, very bizarre, that, isn't it?
But the thing is, the thing is with Trump, he can throw all of this. My mother was British and I'm half British and blah blah blah. He doesn't read the room quite clearly. That is not. I mean, whatever you want to call Charles, whatever nationality you want to call him, but that is not the thing to do to a Brit. Make them feel that's a kind of it's a very inappropriate moment.
Yeah.
And yet Trump cannot even read that room. Because, I mean, you could see Charles. I mean, I can't stand him, not my king. But you could see him kind of like, ooh, I don't like this. He didn't like it. But Trump still carried on.
I know. Charles has been saying something about sort of the Christian thing as well, hasn't he? And bigging up the Christian thing, where in this country though he doesn't big up Christianity. He seems to big up other religions, doesn't he? And
Islam,
and I don't think he even really said much about Easter this time round.
No.
So it's very strange. Very strange behaviour going on there. But I do have this little clip. There's a new UK ambassador to the US, a guy called Christian Turner, who privately said that the US actual special relationship isn't the UK. So let's have a quick listen. It's only about 17 seconds, so it's worth a listen. Let me bring this clip up.
Is a phrase I try not to utter, because it's quite nostalgic, it's quite backwards looking, and it has a lot of sort of baggage about it. I think there is probably one country that has a special relationship with the United States, and that is probably Israel.
There you go.
Israel. In your face. I mean, yeah, he's right, isn't he? And Charles really has gone out there to do damage limitation, because it's all public knowledge, isn't it, that Trump and Starmer don't have the best of relationships, and there's been a fairly well, I would say frank exchange between the two of them, how they feel about each other. So Charles has gone over to extend the olive branch, but I think there's more to it. There's much more to it. I think USA is going to be part. Look, Trump wants everything. He wants every single country. He wants to dominate the world to make America great again, including the Commonwealth. And I've said it all along, and I'll carry on saying it, because one of these days we're going to hear that the USA is very honoured to be included in the Commonwealth, Five Eyes, the whole thing. And if Charles and, I mean, you know, Charles surrounds himself by paedophiles. So Prince William's godfather, Lawrence van der Post, was paedophile. Mountbatten, Jimmy Savile, do I need to go on? And then we've got Trump, who's clearly photographed many times with Epstein. And clearly there's a connection somewhere along the line, whatever it is. So there does seem, and then we've got Keir Starmer, the Jimmy Savile thing. You know, we've got all of these paedophiles involved. And there you've got a picture of Trump and King Charles together, and it's like in your face. Are people not seeing who these people are underneath the layer, underneath the gold and the flamboyance and the royalty of it all?
No, well, the world is run by psychopaths and paedophiles.
Yeah, lunatics are running the asylum.
100%, yeah, 100%. And speaking of the asylum, there was an alleged assassination attempt on Mr. Donald Trump the other day. So we'll play a few clips, because there's a few question marks
as ever
to put out on there. So as ever, yeah. But we'll start with the actual footage, and then maybe we can break it down a little bit, and maybe people in the chat can join in and help us de-ravel some of this quite interesting footage. Anyway, let's play this first. Okay, so it starts off, as you can see, it's pretty frantic looking.
People jumping over the top table and stuff.
Yeah, pretty, you know, and
drama.
And then, yeah, a lot of drama. And then there's this clip I'm just going to bring up again, which shows it to be, you know, quite dramatic. And, you know, if there's an alleged assassination attempt, then, yeah,
absolutely.
It's pretty dramatic, isn't it? So let's play this one. So it looks like there that the security have done their job. You know, they got Trump out the way there.
Well, he kind of got himself out of the way, really. I could see him sort of crouching. But, you know, it's interesting because, you know, that guy that had a piece of paper and was talking to Trump before it all kicked off, because Melania's face was a picture, because it was like, she was shocked. But that guy that had that piece of paper that was talking to Trump, he was a mentalist. So he was there to entertain, and he was in the middle of one of his mentalist things, and then all of that happened. But I mean, when you look at it, I don't know, something just doesn't feel quite right to me. And people were sitting there filming it, eating their dinner.
Well, we'll show some of this actually. We'll start with Valance getting.
Oh, yeah, he got out first, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's kind of removed quite quickly while Trump's still there. And she's kind of covering the president as well, it seems. A girl in the silver dress.
There's the president being escorted. The president being escorted out one side. The vice president being escorted.
So that, I mean, that's quite interesting. I mean, there might be a reason. I don't know why did.
Well, there were a
why
couple of
banks-
opinions on. There was a couple of the SWAT team I saw on X posting, and they were saying they were calling it an extraction. So it was all very dramatic. They said, to organise this extraction, it depends on who is closest to the extraction point, who gets out first, and then blah blah blah. But it just didn't seem right because Trump was clearly very exposed for quite a long time. And that woman with the silver dress, and of course Erica Kirk was there crying her eyes out as well.
Yes, she was.
I don't know.
And then there's this woman here, Debbie. You may have seen this, where this woman's just casually just picking up some wine, or just help myself to a bottle of champagne or a bottle of wine. I'll have that. Yeah, that's very good, very good. It's a bit bizarre behaviour when there's a shooter, is it not?
Well, it's very odd. It's all they're laughing, they're smiling, people are looking quite relaxed, they're chatting, they're filming on their phones. This does not look to me to be a crisis event where you've got a shooter that is shooting randomly at people. I just didn't see or hear I don't know. What do you think watching? And I mean, maybe it's just
look at this guy. So this is all going off, and this guy is just casually eating his. He's just casually eating his food while I'll just carry on. I'm not going to finish eating my food.
There's no panic.
There's no need to worry about this.
He's eating his dinner. See?
Yeah, he's having his dinner.
He's just eating his dinner. And they had footage of the shooter, the alleged shooter, running out through reception. And all of a sudden, security staff were like, "Oh, what's gone on?" But I'm sorry, folks, but does America have its own version?
What about this guy? The camera guy. So we can see. I'll turn that down. Where the arrow is. So when it's all going off, he's got his camera out now. And everybody's panicking. He's quite calm, isn't he? He's not too bothered. He's making sure he gets as much footage as he possibly can. Everyone's, there's gunmen around him, and he's just casually just sat there getting as much footage as he possibly can. That's maybe he's a great journalist. I don't know.
Well, let's not forget this was a media event, wasn't it? It's the White House Correspondents' event, so most of them were media there as well. I think one Sky reporter was there. I think he was quite perplexed at what was going on. I don't think anybody knew what was going on, but like I say, I just wonder, do the USA have their very own version of crisis cast like we do here? Because it seemed very staged to me, dare I say.
Well, I mean, even after the shooting, it's alleged shooting itself, you've got this. They're just all quite happy.
Yeah, then they can't be human. I'm sorry, but
they're all happy. There's no panic going on, is there?
No. Make of it what you will, folks. But for me, that was staged.
It's bizarre stuff, isn't it? It's bizarre stuff. And what about? Did you see the Fox News thing?
No, I didn't.
Okay, this is quite good. Let's play this because there was a person being interviewed, and she got cut off. And they always like to cut people off who might open their mouth a bit too much, really. So let's play this.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Oh, and she's been cut off.
Yeah, of course she has.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And
of course they lost.
Oh, that was good timing, wasn't it? Just to lose her just then.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
All the world's a stage.
Isn't it? No, there's a really good channel. People in our Truther community may have seen it. I think he's a French guy. It's called Dimitri Revolt. He's got a fabulous channel, and this very short clip, Debbie, breaks down everything within about 60 seconds. It's just he puts it together so well, and it's worth a watch. So let's have a look. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. If you don't fully understand what's going on there about Saturn Cube and
The black cube.
there's a lot to unpack there, and there's a lot on my channel regarding these kind of things like the Saturn Cube and things like that. And it's deep and dark stuff, but ultimately the world is a stage, and there's a lot that goes on that, you know, these keep, like you say, the magic men, really, they're illusionists. You know, so you've got a guy who apparently tweeted Cole Allen back in 2023. It's all he ever tweeted, and his cover photo is an illusion itself, where you break it down and it's a time machine thing. But this guy's tweeted about Cole Allen, and then this guy who tweeted it was also linked to Cole Allen, who is also linked to the mainstream media. He's been on mainstream media. Isn't it interesting, though, that a lot of these shooters and even the horrendous Southport attack we had here a couple of years ago, that person was also on the mainstream when he was a child. You know, it's very odd how these individuals are kind of in those circles. There's a lot of black magic, and it does get quite dark, really. But they're literally taking the piss out of us, effectively, and it's another distraction. And it seems to be a lot to do with this ballroom that Trump is going on about. So that's where he's talking about Solomon's Temple and various other things, because the ballroom is very much a Palantir exercise as well. It's all linked to the digital control system. And there is see if I can find it, actually. There is, here it is. There is a link to an image where a number of people who was watching things in COVID time will have seen how on X numerous tweets would be shown at the same time by various accounts. So there's this one here. So there's a number of accounts there that are saying things about the ballroom. Very similar text. Wouldn't it have been real nice if the White House had its own ballroom? We need the White House ballroom. And so there's something going on regarding that. And Trump himself also talks about the ballroom pretty much straight afterwards. So let's play that.
Attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom for 150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different, because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. We have to have.
Yeah. So there you are.
So I know a little bit about this. I did a bit of research into the ballroom. It's not a ballroom. It's not a ballroom at all. It's almost like they're bringing the Pentagon underneath the White House. So this ballroom is like huge. I can't remember the statistics of the size of it, but it is absolutely massive. I mean, they're knocking down one of the wings of the White House to create this ballroom, and they're going deep, and I mean deep underground bunker type deep. And this is much more than a ballroom, and everybody's saying, you know, well, he said it then, it's going to be drone proof, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. It's literally, I don't know what you'd call it other than the Pentagon underneath the White House. It's that big. It is, honestly, it's huge, and it's been financed by all of the usual names, and they've all got their pennies worth into it, and it's going to be gold. It's going to be gold, of course. Everything's going to be gold. But yeah, huge operation, this excavation. I mean, it's massive. Check it out.
Do you think that Trump was quite calm during that incident?
What, the assassination?
Yeah, the
incident?
assassination. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they all were, really. And
Yeah.
Vance didn't really seem to know what was going until he got kind of grabbed and ushered out. And Trump wasn't sure, and he was like crouching. He was like the crouching tiger.
Well,
So-
the week previous, I think it was the week previous, there was some gunshots at a Trump rally, and his reaction's a little bit different, Debbie. It's quite a normal reaction this time. So let's play it.
I know it's not. I know it's not.
I don't know. I don't think that's even normal, to be honest, because the first thing you do, if you were to hear a shot, I mean, I've never been in that situation, so perhaps somebody that's watching this might, who unfortunately has, will be able to correct me. But if I heard that, I'd immediately duck. I wouldn't just stand there and look around. I'd be down. So I find the whole pattern of behaviour very odd.
Yeah, well, he definitely shit himself on that one, though. There was a more.
Well, did he, or is he? I mean, he is an actor. At the end of the day, he's a performer. So I can't trust anything that Trump says or does, because he's an actor, like Zelensky is a comedian. You know, these are facts.
They are facts indeed. Moving forward, though, Debbie, the weather has been, you know, like you said before, it's quite nice outside, isn't it? But we do have a bit of gaslighting going on from our government and mainstream media, as always, and apparently solar power is soaring to new heights because of fears of dangerously high temperatures because of the last year's huge heat waves from the Mediterranean to the Arctic.
Yeah, we got super, was it called, super El Nino event on the way. I mean, already in the US, there's wildfires going. I mean, there's a lot of wildfires going on at the moment. Whether you want to call them natural wildfires or whether you want to call them deliberate arson is another thing. But we're going to have a warm summer. So just remember all of those days of rain we had. Just remember every single day, for goodness knows how long, we had rain and grey skies. And I predict, watch the water, because we're going to end up with a drought in this country, whether you like it or not, whether it's going to be a standpipe or whether it's just going to be your meters turned down because you've got a smart meter. I don't know, but I take myself back to standpipes. And the one thing I say to people is, you know, when they say, oh yeah, you know, we could end up with a drought, get yourself some water carriers now. You know, next time you're out and about, pick up a water carrier, because these sort of things may be required. And watch the water. If you've got a distiller, if you haven't got a distiller, please try and get one, because I've always said all along, it's the water. Yes, exactly. Donors, Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft for the ballroom. It stinks, the whole ballroom thing. But no, going back to water quickly, I would say to people, if you're out and about shopping, prices are going to go up. They're just going to carry on going up. Food, water, all of it is going to go up. If you can't afford to buy it today, you're certainly not going to be able to afford to buy it next week, because the prices are going up. And I would say to everybody, don't panic like the government tell you to, but just pick up a little bit of extra water when you're next out, a couple of bottles perhaps, and just store them. If you've got a water distiller, even if they're in plastic bottles, that will clear all the nasties from the plastic. But just keep an eye on the water.
Yeah, definitely. And as Sarah and Soldier have said about let's quit,
Dim the sun.
let's dim the sun.
And plug in the solar panels. Hello. Yeah, exactly. Buy the solar panels. But you've got to plug them in. You've got to use electricity to plug them in. Honestly, the whole thing's bizarre. You can't make it up.
Well, while that's happening, obviously, we're being gaslit massively, as a number of us will have been watching the skies over the years and been saying that something isn't normal with the crisscrosses that we see in the sky, and they're obviously telling people now, or trying to bring it into to public consciousness, that they are cloud seeding, because we have record high temperatures, don't we?
Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's like it exists, folks. It does exist for anybody that tells you it doesn't.
Well, when we say that the UK is a laboratory for the world, what I would say that the whole world is a complete laboratory for these parasitic psychopaths that are testing on us all the time. I remember, as you will, Debbie, seasons were defined growing
Yep.
up as a kid. We had good, crisp winters,
Yeah.
snow, icicles. Then
Yeah.
I remember being taught about, the March winds, the April showers as we go into spring. And then the summers were long and hot.
Yeah, they
They
were.
were. And then you knew when autumn came. You
Yeah.
knew it was very distinct. And now
Yeah.
everything is blurred. It's all
Yeah, it completely is. When I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, my family used to go to the same hotel here in Cornwall for the same 2 weeks in August, the middle 2 weeks of August every single year, and you would be guaranteed of wall-to-wall sunshine. You literally would. Now, we've had so many wet summers, grey summers, and like you say, you can't differentiate one season from another anymore. But no, hot summers, watch for the water.
Well,
Watch
they'll
for the
blame it on
water.
us peasants, though. They'll blame it on us peasants that
Oh,
the
yeah.
the reason the weather's turned to shit is because we're spraying too much deodorant or something like that.
Well,
It's
the
always our
cows are farting too
cows are
much.
farting. We're burning wood that we shouldn't. We shouldn't be burning wood by all means. You know what I mean? That's a
No,
terrible
but
thing
we
to
can go
do.
and set fire to Iran or Ukraine or wherever else we
Well,
want to with a load of bombs.
yeah,
That's fine.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, whilst that's happening, the BP's profits have doubled while we're paying out the absolute, I mean, just crazy figures for diesel and petrol right now.
But this is it, though, Anne, isn't it? It's in your face, in plain sight.
Yeah.
We have got tons of oil. We don't need oil, but they don't want us to have it. And in the proceeds, they're going to make as much profit as they possibly can. And they're going to sting us for as much as they possibly can, which is what they're doing. They don't want us to drive. It's that simple.
They don't want us to travel because
No.
15-minute cities, you'll have everything you possibly need
On
in
your
your
doorstep.
15-minute. Yes, exactly. So you
Oxford.
won't need
What's
it, will
going
you?
on? Do you know what? Honestly, I see all of this stuff with 15-minute cities in Oxford. What is going on? If you're living in Oxford and you're watching this, why aren't you rising up? Why are we not seeing protests in the street? Why are we not seeing Oxford residents up in
Kicking off.
arms about this? Or am I just missing it and it's not being shown?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. There's a lot going on, isn't there, Debbie? Where people are just getting on with their lives as best as they possibly can. We're all in survival mode. We're all stressed to the max. We're all just trying to get by while all this stuff's going on, and we're being distracted by the likes of Donald Trump and Keir Starmer. So we think we've got a choice in the illusion of democracy as well, and it's all nonsense. While they just keep coming and steamrolling us, and we are that set of lab rats, aren't we?
Oh, completely. Completely. I mean, life sciences, as regards health, life sciences. And then you look, I remember seeing this daytime program in America and they were going, oh, we can't wait until the UK have tested and we have a cure for cancer, because the UK is going to be cancer laboratory, is life sciences laboratory for the world. So they're going to test everything on us. So Trump's very happy as well that we're having to pay higher prices in the NHS while America pay much lower prices for pharmaceuticals. So, the whole thing is playing out.
As
in your
always,
face.
as
Yeah.
always, and as we've discussed on this show about life expectancy has fallen, but obviously the pension age will continue to rise, so that's in the news now as well. That it's not fair, but
Now, this
we're
life expectancy thing is a really big issue, and it's something that I'll dig out the bit on the NHS board meeting
yeah,
with Andrew, who's one of the non-executive members, who's really concerned about this life expectancy, because life expectancy, we've lost years, 2+ years of life expectancy. How are we ever going to get those back? And of course, pension. I was one of the WASPy women, so I was due a pension. Women would generally due a pension at the age of 60, and men got their pensions at 65. But it all changed for my generation, and we had to wait. So I had to wait until I was 66. I had to delay by 6 years. And now they're talking about people not getting a pension till 70, 75. And of course, really, ultimately, there isn't going to be a pension. And I have to say that, I'm a pensioner. And I have to say that when digital ID comes in and I've got to submit my biometric data in order to get my pension, am I going to do that? Or am I going to live with nothing? I think I'd prefer to live with nothing than give my biometric data to get my pension. So all of us that are on benefits, or all of us that are on a state pension or universal credit, for example, these are the people that are going to be easily migrated to universal basic income and blockchain and CBDC. They're the people that are going to be easily migrated. And it's going to be down to each and every one of us to make that decision of, are we going to comply in order to get our state pension, if we're ever going to get it, if we're ever going to live that long to get it? Or are we going to be denied it and we're going to have to manage ourselves without any state help or intervention, because it's conditional?
yeah, and continuing the fact that people are living not as long at the moment. It says people in the UK spend fewer years in good health than a decade ago as well. A study has found, people are not as happy though, Debbie. I don't think.
You're not meant to be happy, and you're not allowed to be happy. Don't be
meant
happy.
to be.
Don't be happy. Don't tell jokes. Don't have any banter. Don't have a good story to tell. Don't have a happy memory. You've got to be miserable all the time. This is the idea. You will not be happy. You won't be happy.
Well, that for me is the biggest act of rebellion anyone can have right now, is to enjoy your life to its fullest and live as long as possible, because it's a big fuck you to the state.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And that's why I've took on a pub again, Debbie, because it's to create a space for joy and happiness, because out there it's a pain in the ass, isn't it? They want us miserable, but we have to continue enjoying life.
Yeah, we do. Not ending it.
And speaking of enjoying life, apparently the middle class are funding, aren't they, everyone else to have fun. Life on benefits is getting cheaper, is the story now.
It is. Life on benefits is getting cheaper, and there was a comparison of prices that if you were to go to the London Zoo or plenty of other attractions, if you were a working family, you would pay extortionate rates, and if you were on universal credit, you'd get in for pretty much nothing. Now, for me, that is a great thing for people that are genuinely on universal credits, that are from our country and that have contributed to our country, or their families have contributed to our country. That's absolutely, I love the fact that people that are on universal credit can go and access the arts and can go and access all of these amazing places to learn history in whatever shape or form they want. However, we have to remember now in the UK, people paying tax, the tax income that this country gets is less than the benefits bill. And the benefits bill has rocketed and increased because we have this huge explosion of illegal migrants in this country. And we have people in this country, I'm sorry to have to say it, but they are taking what belongs to people that have been born and brought up in this country and have contributed, and their families have contributed to this country. They are missing out. And often these people now on universal credit, our own people, are missing out. They're being forcibly evicted. They're not being rehomed. They're being signposted from one department to another. They're being told to navigate their own direction whilst we're getting illegal migrants coming in, claiming universal credit, getting 5-star hotels, accommodation, jobs, transport, driving lessons. And they're also bringing in a lot of crime. They're bringing in a lot of disease, tuberculosis, rickets, scabies, all of the old Victorian diseases that we thought we'd eliminated. And we're losing our culture. So for me, this is a double-edged sword, because I want to see people on universal credit being able to access London Zoo and, all of these great attractions. But at the same time, why should hard-working people have to pay for it? Question.
Well, I think the issue is that they've brought in, like you saying, I think there's an 11 million rise in the population since COVID. That's clearly an issue. And as Soljar mentioned, I know that in our case as well, because of my partner's disability, we obviously we've got a pub as well, and I work as many hours as I possibly can, but we rely on UC to help us get through. And
as many people do,
and it isn't enough either to get through. It's a really tricky thing, but everything's a mess, and it's designed to be a mess to create the anger. That's what they want. They want us angry, and we're going to be, because it's all designed to be that way. They want the civil unrest. They want that, because if we're angry and we're in fear, we're easier to control.
And if the weather's hot, because people often get a bit teasier, a bit angrier when the weather gets warm as well. So summer of unrest perhaps ahead of us.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I've been saying it for a few years, but it's not fully happened yet. Like you were saying about Oxford, are people just so stressed in their world that they're just not rising? Is it the British thing as well, where we'll queue for a day for a roller coaster in the rain? We're very calm, placid people generally. Whereas in other countries, you see rises. You'll see politicians thrown in dumpsters. You know what I mean? You don't really see that here.
No, we're a tolerant country, but I've always said apathy is very dangerous. And people just go, oh, well, it'll be okay. People obviously, nobody's really upset about it, so why would I need to speak up? And then these systems creep in, and you end up waking up one morning and you've got 3 huge concrete plant pots blocking your road. And now your next door neighbour is in a different zone and you can't visit them unless you've got a permit. This is how the net is closing in, almost by stealth.
Yeah. I see Blair's back on the thing again. Blair never can keep out of stuff, can he? And he's on about benefits as well. Emergency handbrake needed on sickness benefits. The Blair.
But you're making us sick, Blair. All of this is, you're deliberately making your population sick in order to rely on personal independence payment and benefits. That's what you're deliberately doing.
Yeah. Well, Blair makes me feel sick just thinking about him, to be honest with you. What a horrible, despicable. I don't think he's human anyway. We haven't got massively long, but let's bring up the assisted dying. What's happened this week on that, Debbie?
Okay, well, it ran out of time and it's gone. Bye. It's failed and that's the end of it. But you know what? If you're watching this in Camp 3, you know that that's not the end of it, because clearly this is just a little hitch. Because a couple of days after, yes, I found this paper, Medscape, supporters vow to revive assisted dying bill. And Kim Ledbetter, who of course backed it the first time around, she is determined that she's going to bring this back next Parliament. So after the summer recess, when we come back just before Christmas, when Parliament come back, Kim Ledbetter is going to roll this out again. So if you think that assisted dying is done and dusted and gone, it isn't. It's going to come back either in a different guise, or it's going to come back in the same form, but they're going to manage to go through the amendments and say, I mean, at the moment, it's a very, very dangerous. I don't agree with it, full stop anyway. But as it was very dangerous. So they're going to bring it back. They're going to pretty it up. put a few bows on. But I mean, Esther Rantzen and Kim Ledbetter are literally pioneering this, and they're not going to let it go.
Esther Rantzen. So she was.
Esther.
There
Esther,
she
she
is.
look amazing. Do you know what? I
She?
have to say, this is a woman who was given a terminal diagnosis 4 years ago, and she looks, I think, Esther, you look absolutely phenomenal, because people that I've seen with a terminal diagnosis of cancer don't look that well. Many of them are enduring the serious adverse reactions from chemotherapy. Many of them lose their hair. Many of them feel sick, unable to go out, let alone dress up and pose for pictures in front of beautiful trees. So I have to ask myself, and her daughter apparently is backing her the whole way. Now, if it was my mum, I would be just desperate to spend every single second of what time I had left with my mum. I certainly wouldn't be encouraging her to go for an assisted death. And I love my mum to pieces. So every second of a memory and every second of an experience or a family get together is important. So I would have hoped that her daughter would have enjoyed the 4 years of extra time that Esther has obviously had, and the memories that they've been able to create in that 4 years, because she, to me, doesn't look as though she's ready to go anytime soon. But hey, who am I?
She's a big advocate for these machines to pop off with. So,
And I'm totally against it. And you know what? And I was saying to you before we came on air very quickly that when I was nursing, all palliative care, and that's what we're looking at here. We need to be looking at palliative care, not assisted death. If somebody's got a terminal disease, then a terminal illness, we need to be, we're helping them have as quiet a death in peace, dignity, love, compassion, surrounded by family. So we need to be looking at palliative care, not killing them. Oh, you've got a terminal diagnosis, so we're going to kill you now. That's not. So we did all the palliative care as a nurse. We didn't have hospices back in the 70s. We couldn't farm people out to other places. We did the palliative care. And people had, as gentle and as quiet and as dignified death. We've medicalized death. We have to stop it. We're medicalizing birth. So many women are having cesareans. So many women are having inductions. So many women are having medicalized births, and we're doing the same with death. Death is a natural process that should be governed by God. And when your time's up, your time's up. You should not have to feel coerced or pushed into ending your life anytime sooner than it's due.
Well, I'm sure if they'll make money on death, they will do, won't they, Debbie?
Of course. Oh, yeah, of course. Death's a big industry, but that's maybe for another week.
Let's end on a funny. We've got
a
bit of music, and anyone who watches our show knows we try and lighten
end on a light. And keep smiling.
And keep smiling. And thanks for everyone that's joined us today. And we will definitely see you soon. Hopefully next week if all goes well. But we'll post a couple of days before if we're able to do it. But I think Wednesday at 1 o'clock seems to be working at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we've got a song for you, Debbie, and it's Donald Trump again, I'm afraid.
Oh, the master magician.
The master magician. Anyway, see you later, guys.
Bye, everyone.
All right, stop. Forget the polls and listen. Donnie's back with an ancient invention. Do this. If you need public support, just fake your own hit and treat it as a sport.
Was it ever real, yo?
Hell no, but people like to root for the underdog, so if you need a problem, yo, just fake it. Create a spectacle and let the lefties take it. Now that the PSYOP is pumping, everyone's hype and reporters are jumping. Use that diversion as fuel, put a band-aid on it, everything's cool. If they start asking about your year,
just feel it like me for the past 30 years.
The good assassination will never fail, so you can run the master plans of the Israelis. And when you mess up a big dirty war, just say, look, we won, like you did before. If you need a problem, yo, just fake it. Just make it look real and let the lefties take it.
False flag, baby.